So changing paces, I'm going to go ahead and configure the egress for my lab. As you can see here, I have a virtual FTD, CSR 1000V, and ASAv that I need to configure. The only reason I'm putting the ASAv in there is because I need VPN, so I'm going to give that an outside IP of 1095.61.70 inside of 10.0.170, and management, which will be back in VLAN 100 of 10.1.170. And then, of course, the CSR will have .254 on both sides. And I'll just leave the FTD in transparent mode for now. So let me go ahead and first create a port group for this new little area I'm going to go ahead and create. Bear with me for a moment. So I'm going to go to Networks and add VLAN 20. Perfect. So with VLAN 20, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the port group, that the management interface is in VLAN 100. This guy, which will be our outside interface, will be in the VLAN network, which is just outside. Then we'll put it in VLAN 20 for the inside. On the CSR side, I'll go ahead and make sure that it's in VLAN 20 on the outside there too. So first thing first, let's go ahead and configure the FMC and the FTD, because that's going to be managing FTD. Firepower, then that's Firepower Threat Defense. So first thing first, let's go ahead and give this guy an IP. It's going to be 10.1.110. And for the FTD side, I'm just going to go ahead and give that IP address of 10.1.169. That'll be the management IP of it for the FTD. So let me go ahead and jump right into it. Let's start with Firepower Management Center first. So we'll go ahead and pull the console up. And the username and the default username and password for Firepower is admin, and then capital A admin 123. So we're going to start with sudo configure network -network and give the FMC an IP address, and that's going to be configure yes and 10.1.110. 255.255.250 100 254. Settings correct. Yes. No, I don't want to configure IPv6. It'll come up in just a moment, which from here I can ping that. Ping. Oh, right away. Excellent. Next thing I'm going to do is configure the IP address for virtual FTD. Same process as well, for the most part, except I believe there's a little setup that you go through. And the same default username and password as well. So it's going to make me accept a EULA, so give me a moment. It's going on. It's on the other screen right now, but after I sign in, I pretty much have to go through this whole EULA here, which just spacebar through it. Type yes. Enter a new password, whatever password I choose. Yes, I want to configure IPv6 or IPv4, and no for IPv6. Going to be manual, not DHCP. And as we discussed on the diagram, I'm going to go ahead and give it an IP address of 10.1.169. It's just going to call it FTDV. That's going to be my demo.net. Give it a second, and that should come up. Don't want to manage it locally. And we're going to do this in transparent. So it usually takes a few minutes for this to finish. It shouldn't be too long. Okay. Let's make sure I have the right port groups configured. One moment. And let me see if, make sure I didn't accidentally enter the wrong, all right. Most certainly is the right IP. The other thing I want to also check is on the networking side, make sure that working. Sure, promiscuous mode is accept. Perfect. That was my own issue right there, but you want to make sure that under networking, you have promiscuous mode accepted for the, at least for the VLANs you're going to be using. So let me go ahead and just change that on this vSwitch real quick under default. So there we go. Done. Perfect. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sign into the Firepower Management Console. Since we've now given it an IP address, we should be able to browse directly to it. So we're going to go admin 123, log right into the management console, and this part takes a couple minutes to set up, so just bear that in mind. But this is where they have us set up a new password for logging in. Since admin123 gasp is not a secure password. Weird, right? I'm going to go ahead and name this FMC. Domain is going to be securitydemo.net. And DNS server is my domain controller, which is 10.1.100.40. I'm going to sync NTP from my domain controller. Change my time zone to UTC because I want everything. If just me, I want all the logs to be in the same time zone. Works better that way. I'm not going to worry about licensing quite yet. I've read all this, and yeah, everyone reads these end user agreements. And click apply. Now this usually takes a few minutes to kind of sort through, so I'm going to pause and let this configure itself, and then I'll resume once we've gotten past this point. All right, so we are back. I was just letting it load up because it does take a few minutes, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting everyone's time watching the Firepower spin. So there's a couple things I like to configure on Firepower first and foremost. So I'm going to go to System Configuration and kind of start from there and start building my Firepower system. So let's take a look at this really quick. Give me a moment. So if I wanted to restart or reboot, I'd have that. I'm going to go ahead and add a login banner really quickly because I will be using this for sharing this lab out. Any questions or recommended changes, please contact Catherine McNamara. Save. So I'm going to go ahead and DNS cache. It does put a little bit more of a load on the system sometimes to do that, I believe. Let me, yeah, never mind. DNS cache is good. Let's check the dashboard really quickly. Sorry, I'm just configuring a couple little things as I go. Email notification I'm not going to do because I'm behind about 3 different proxies, and the only email address I have right now to use is a Gmail address. I'm not going to worry about external database. A moment. So I think we're good here. Let me make sure the REST API is enabled. I do some testing with that from time to time, and it's pretty nifty because you can build out, you can add your devices in bulk, make some changes, create the intrusion, create the access control policy, and some other things from the REST API. You can't do everything, but if you wanted to automate some of these configurations or policies sets, or these policies, you can do that using the REST API with Firepower. So it's pretty nifty. I'm going to go ahead and then go to, I don't think I need to configure anything in users, but I'll check anyways. All right, I'm good there. I'm going to actually create a demo user really quickly, since I'll be letting people use this lab. Don't need to use minimum password length. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to make this a read-only account. Click Save. We'll get to configuring integration later, but integration is where we would configure the identity sources, which would be ICE, and some other cool things. But again, I'll get to this in a later video. I just want to make sure that we're not boiling the ocean. Now, I haven't licensed this, and the best way to kind of get my own eval license out of this is you go to Licenses, Smart Licenses, and go in evaluation mode. As you can see here, this nice little pop-up says you're about to start your evaluation period. Evaluation period is a one-time 90-day period for which you're able to explore your Cisco product's full functionality. When the evaluation mode ends, you have to register with the Smart Licensing Cloud to continue to use your product. Do you wish to begin your evaluation period now? Why, yes, I would like to. So let's go ahead and back here. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and register a device next, which will be that Firepower device that we previously added. First, I actually have to go into that device really quickly, so give me a moment while I do so. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. So what we would do to aim it towards that configure manager, add, I think the next thing I do is 10, 1, 100, 10. Then we have to give it a registration key. So it's going to be ice cold. Then over here, we're going to go ahead and add this device, which will be 10069. It's going to be FTDV. Registration key is going to be ice cold. There's no group yet. And we're going to have to create a new access control policy. So this is going to be security demo ACP, access control policy. This is the security of the policy for the security demo lab. Let's go ahead and just put the default action at network discovery for now. I don't want to block everything. And let's go ahead and make sure it's got malware threat URL filtering. So give it a moment. It's registering now. Just gonna So it usually takes about a minute or two, and I apologize about the delay. There we go. Miss. Once it finishes registering, in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and create a group for this. So add group, this is gonna be security, I can type today. Demo lab. Add that over there, okay. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, it might be done. Yep. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my interfaces are configured correctly. We're gonna go ahead and call this outside. Let's go ahead and create a security zone. It'll be the same thing. We'll just call it outside as well. And security zones are just the logical name for the interface himself, or a group of interfaces. This is the outside. I don't even actually need a description. Don't worry about that. Click save. All right. So outside's done, and let's go ahead and enable the inside. So inside. Give a security zone of inside. And click OK. Now we're going to have to configure those two as an inline set. So inside to outside and inside to outside. If I wanted to change the MTU or anything along those lines, I could easily put it here. And I'm going to go ahead and have it fail open in case Snort is busy or overwhelmed or it goes down. I still want it to pass traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's enabled. And then I'm going to click save. I'm not going to worry about routing or anything else because this is a in passive mode, transparent mode right now. So for now we're good. So in the meantime, I'm going to go up to Application, Objects, Object Management. And I'm going to go ahead and create some network groups really quickly, so or network objects. So I'm going to go ahead and add an object, and first one is going to be LAN. And let's go ahead and give that an IP address, network IP of 100.0/24. I also have the other beta test subnet that I use for my other testing. So that's 10.1.30.0/24. That's what the second switch and the other wireless controller are going to use. Then that other subnet that is where my VPN drops into. So we're going to call that VPN subnet 0.100/24. Oh, let's give it a little 0 there. And let's go ahead and group these all together. So security demo lab subnets. So we're just going to grab LAN, VPN subnet, add that, and my beta test. So we have one big group that I can logically organize. Then from there, we're going to go to variable set. Now, variable set is kind of what it fills in the blanks for snort rules. The only thing I need to change here, and I'm actually going to edit the default set. I'm just going to go down to home net and make a change to that. Included net subnets, and this is just our protected network, what we will list as our protected network. So we're going to include just the demo, security demo lab subnets, because I don't want it to be inspecting or protecting anything that is coming in from the internet. Vice versa, I'd rather have my clear defined internal nets that I want it to be inspecting and protecting. So that way it'll fill in the blanks for home networks for those subnets. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and make that change. And one other thing I'm going to do, so this is where we kind of start to build out our policies a little bit. We're not going to go too crazy with it, but for now I'm going to just configure network discovery, and by default it inspects everything and looks for everything. I'm going to get rid of that and just add security demos lab subnets, because I don't want it to be sniffing anything else out there that's necessarily coming in from the internet, because I don't care about the identities out there. Another thing you can do is you can look at traffic-based detection, and so if you're on a large network with SIP, you don't necessarily want every phone number to be used as traffic for user-based identification, so you can make a change here to remove that. FTP as well I'd probably remove, because if you think about it, there's a lot of anonymous logins that are used, and you don't want that to necessarily influence it. So those are the two I'd pick right off the bat. And here I'm probably going to change the capture banners to just check for banners that it sees as well. And then good to go on that one at least. So let's start with deploying that change really quickly. And it's going to make the change and deploy it to the FTD device. So give it a few moments while it updates that. And then let's go ahead and make a couple changes. So I'm going to create a file policy, and I'm not going to have it do anything too crazy, but maybe let's start with detect mal. Actually, let's go ahead and name the file policy. So it's going to be security demo file. This is the file inspection policy for the security demo lab. We're going to add a rule. That's first thing we're going to do is we're just going to inspect certain types of files. I don't necessarily want to block anything there. I just want to know that they come through. So let's go ahead and encoded graphics, system files. Go ahead and add that in there. Click save, and then we're going to add another rule, and that's going to be malware cloud lookup. Now, I'm not going to store anything, but this is the difference between block malware and malware cloud lookup is malware cloud lookup inspects it and lets you know it comes through, but it's not going to block it. Block malware is inspects it and it takes that additional action of blocking it. It's kind of like IDS versus IPS for files. Now, since this is a demo lab and I want to show the visibility and be able to test that with you guys, let's go ahead and leave that as malware cloud lookup. Spiro analysis is it looks at Windows, specifically Microsoft files for metadata, and it looks to see any behavioral or metadata information that might indicate malware. Dynamic analysis is threat grid clouds, sandboxing, and other things to kind of dig into it some more. Capacity handling, this is when if it can't send a file immediately and it's sent too much, and if you hover over it, it'll explain this to you. It'll send it to the disk for later submission. And then on files that are local malware analysis capable, it will also look at it locally. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip this, look at PDFs, executables, and archive and Office documents, and click save. So let's go ahead and save this. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and go over here. So we can go ahead and click inspect archives. I don't want to necessarily block uninspectable ones or encrypted ones. This is enabled by default. This is if a file is unknown, it's never been seen before. By the AMP cloud, will you allow it to be submitted for dynamic analysis if it's the first time it's ever been seen. It's on by default. I would definitely leave it there. If you are at a company that can't submit, and this stuff is confidential, and it's not like your data is being released to anyone else except for just submitted for that sandboxing. But if you are worried, or if you have certain security issues where, like, maybe you work at the DoD or financial institutions that you can't have PDFs going out, there are options to have something called the threat grid appliance on site, where it would be submitted to that instead, so your data doesn't leave your network. So there's a lot of different ways to deploy this, but it's just giving you some different options. Let's go ahead and go to the intrusion policy really quickly. And it hasn't been created yet, so let's go ahead and create this. So this is going to be my security demo intrusion policy. This is my security demo IPS policy. So we'll go ahead and let it be drop in line. And since this is kind of a self-contained lab, later on I can actually show you some attacks between maybe a host, down here to a host here going through here. So it gives you a little bit more of an idea of like some of the cool things it can detect. But I'll save that for later videos. I just kind of wanted to show you what that would look like. Okay, so there are some built-based policies. You can have no rules active and do and kind of work your way up, which would be a lot of rules to go through. You can do balance security and connectivity over security, so less rules enabled. As you can see here, the default rules are going to change. Give it a moment while it does so. See, less security rules enabled. And then, of course, you can do security over connectivity. I'll go with security over connectivity. Now, if there's a base rule that you don't like, you can actually create layers of these rules, and anything you custom implement above the base policy will be enacted first. So if you decide to turn off a rule in a policy layer above the base, that's the one that takes effect, not the one not the base policy. So it's kind of a hierarchical in that sense. Now the firepower recommendations, these are based on the kind of traffic it sees, and we'll show this more once it starts seeing traffic. But it's a cool way to detect the kind of applications, hosts, and other things that are on your network. So it applies or recommends rules for you that only would apply to the devices that are on your network, not just blanket ones that, if you don't have any Linux hosts or a certain type of Linux, you wouldn't get a bunch of IPS rules turned on by default for something that's not ever going to be on your network. Basic intrusion policy. Okay. Now, as we're going through and creating these policies, they actually have to be to take effect. They have to be configured and put into an access control policy. Our access control policy by default, the what we created in this sense to add that device in there was very, very light. It was just basically saying, hey, this is the policy, just doing network discovery, nothing else. So we're going to go ahead and go in here and make some changes to it. Let me go ahead and wait for this to finish committing, and then we'll make those changes now. Perfect. So we go to the access control policy, and then there's a lot of things we can, by the way, SSL decryption, identity, DNS, and we'll go into those in later videos, but I'm just trying to get this up and running to the point where we have some very basic connectivity and routability and between our network and the internet. So bear with me while I do so. And one thing I will also have to do is configure the proxy. So I'll have to go back and pause and do that because I don't want to publish that part to the internet. So let's go ahead and edit the policy really quick. All devices are up to date. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add a rule, and this is going to be inspection and file. Now there's a couple different actions we can take. Allow means allow that traffic to go through to the inspection engine or allow it through. Trust means no further inspection. If I say trust, I won't even be able to make any change, add any intrusion policies. Monitor means it's just monitoring. It's not actually applying any, again, I can't make any changes here to the intrusion policy. Block reset, interactive block, kind of makes sense to you guys. So I'm going to go with allow. And now I can add my security and demo intrusion policy, my security file policy, and the variable set, which we made sure to specify homenet, which was our networks inside. I'm also going to go ahead and make sure it's logging at the end of the connection. So went ahead and did that, and we'll click add right here. And if you ever wanted to jump to any of those tabs, you can actually do so really quickly just by clicking these icons once you get used to them. So inspection there. Yeah. So you see here, file policy, safe search with EDU and stuff. You can sites and YouTube. There's a lot of different things you can add in there. Security intelligence. This is a cool feature with like Talos, Cisco's threat intelligence unit. It'll update feeds here of known bad CNC malware servers, and you can make sure that they're blacklisted or at least alerting you on them from here. And this is all stuff I'll go into and show you guys later. I just want to go ahead and first start with a very basic policy config. So I'm going to click save and push this out to my little FTD. And I'll go back to actually I'm gonna, yeah, I'll just let this now the next thing I want to do is we've already configured some of the policies there. Now I want to configure taking a step back, this should deploy and have no problem communicating. So now we have to configure the CSR 1000V for next. So next things, let's go ahead and close this and open this guy up. So I haven't configured this router yet, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it the basic config because there's not really much that needs to be configured on this topology. I'm not having it do any advanced routing. The only reason I have the CSR here is because of the NetFlow and performance stats, which I can send to StealthWatch, and it's something I'm going to show in later videos. But for now, all it's doing is default route out and the route's in. So you show IP interface brief. Okay, so let's go ahead and configure this guy. So interface G1, that's going to be my my outside interface. So it's going to be IP interface or IP address 10 0 100 254 550. Actually, my bad. It's been a long day of making videos. So IP address 10 100 254. That one probably grabbed DHCP. Looks like it did. Shut this down. Default interface G2. IP address 10 100 254 25550. No shut. Do ping. Let's go ahead and try to ping ICE real quick. See if that goes through. There we go. It went up. Perfect. So it's up, and let's go ahead and create the routes. Make sure that it's reachable. So I'm gonna make sure I can get into this guy. So username, admin, privilege, 15, secret, ice cold, enable, secret, ice cold. Let's see, IP domain name. This is going to be securitydemo.net and crypto key gen. Oh, I have host name. This is HV2. Okay, so went ahead and set it up where I can, with a login, let's go ahead and give a route. So IP route 10 1 30 0 25 25 50. Actually, send that to switch. I'm going to have the layer 3 switch routing that. It's just a second subnet inside. Then we're going to do IP route 0.0.0.0. Let's go ahead and make sure I can get into login level. Oops. Perfect. I should be able to log into it now, or SSH into it now, but we'll test this out. Let's go ahead and SSH to the router. See if that pops up. Perfect. Ready to rock and roll over there. And next up, we are going to go ahead and let's see if we get, let's refresh this real quick and see if we start to see any traffic. Give that a minute. Oh, there we go. Starting to see some stuff go out, so that's perfect. Mostly DNS because right now I don't have the ASA set up. So next up, let's go ahead and make sure we take care of that as well. So CSR is done, we wrote the mem. So ASA is next. So we're going to give it a host name of ASAv. Show IP. Probably nothing right now. So let's go ahead and make sure that really quickly I want to make sure that and okay, perfect. So interface, show run interface. Okay, interface G0/0. This is the outside interface, so we're going to name it outside. Don't care if it's set to 0, and then we're going to go IP address 10.95.61.70.255.252.240. No shut. Face G0/1. This is going to be the inside interface, so name if inside. It's going to give it a 100 by default, and then we're going to go ahead and give it an IP address of 10.0.170. Consistency purposes, no shut. Next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I configure, I want to go ahead and configure my dynamic natting. So should be, if memory serves me correctly, object network, object, any, nat, any, outside, dynamic interface. Oh, so let's go ahead and make sure it's subnet 0.0.0.0.0.0. All right, right mem. So that should allow me to NAT it from the perspective of anything coming on any other interface going to outside will be NATed with dynamic pat to with the outside IP address. But the best way to check that is let's just go ahead and putty into the CSR and try to. And one last thing. So by default, it's not going to let me, return pings. But a quick, dirty way to still do that is fix up protocol ICMP. It'll add that to the MPF command, and you're good to go. Let me right mem that and go back to the CSR and try to ping from there. So we're going to ping the gateway that's right past the perfect, right past CSA. So natting is working now. So I should be able to get internet connectivity without any issue. And let's go ahead and give username, password, ice cold, secret, or enable, password, ice cold, authentication, SSH, console, local. We're going to go ahead and allow from inside and outside too, since it's my lab as well. I don't really worry about anything here. SSH timeout. 15 IP domain name. This is going to be securitydemo.net. Right mem. Let's test this out. Buddy. Zero 100. Actually, I'm going to do 95, 61. Got right in. So I now have internet connectivity in my lab, and we went through the very basics of configuring the virtual FTD, CSR, and ASAv. We're going to dive deeper into this, but just to give you, we needed to make sure that we had at least some connectivity, and I wanted to make sure we did get that done today. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this.